5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Say it.
Welcome to 2brosPodcast.
No, what do you say all the time every time we started the podcast?
Good morning.
No.
What did I say?
We're live.
And we're live. Welcome to 2brosPodcast, episode 6.
Dot.
Yeah, you usually say that. So we're episode 6.0. We are lucky to have a wonderful guest with us, Miss Alethea Brisco.
Yes. Glad to be here, guys.
Well, thank you for coming to the show. We appreciate you coming down. As you know, we are unscripted and undialogued, so this is nothing more than just to get to know you, who you are, and kind of tell our fans a little bit about your journey. Now, our executive producer, Miss Keisha Whitfield, thought it was apropos to have you on the show because it is October.
Yes.
And October represents Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Absolutely.
So I'm rocking a little bit of pink.
Love the pink. Love
2
the
Bros
pink.
Podcast hat going on.
I have no pink.
My brother's going
don't
to
reference me.
He's going to the Yankee game tonight.
Don't reference me.
Okay.
I have no pink. However, I used to work at Panera, and every October we would make those bagels.
Bagels. You know, a lot of people don't know what bagels are. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people around the world don't know what bagels are. You talk to different races, they say, "What's a bagel?"
Oh, really?
It's weird. So, welcome to 2 Bros Podcast. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
You're more than welcome. So, we thought it was apropos to have you here for breast cancer awareness. And one of the things, the reason why we thought it was a good idea is because we don't know anything.
Right.
We've heard of it. We've seen people take a lot of credit for it. We've seen the colors. Everyone's rocking purple whenever it's convenient. And well, not that you're not interesting in itself.
Right.
But we thought that to highlight October and the Breast Cancer Awareness Month was something that we thought was kind of, why not bring it to the forefront?
Right.
And dispel all the myths of what it is and how it affects certain people. Because now, on a higher level, I mean, we got some statistics here. Again, I thank my executive producer for putting some facts in front of us.
Right.
So we're getting professional, guys. We're getting facts. We got facts.
It's all about the facts.
We were
Facts
just
is
talking
important.
crap before. Now we're getting facts, and we have a producer that's really helping us out. So I'm just going to read and rattle off some of these things here,
Sure.
and just, you know, in no specific order. But it says 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting number. That's 1 in 8. So for every 8 people you see, one of them has breast cancer. So without further ado, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, obviously, and your journey struggling with this and how you let's dial it back a little bit. Let's go back to when you were first diagnosed.
Right.
Because I mean, with all the pain and everything that goes with it, we want to obviously teach and educate some of our people and find out if there's something that they could benefit from your journey.
Right.
So what do you think? I mean, tell us a little bit if you can, and if you feel crazy about it,
No,
you know,
not
tell
at
us a
all.
little bit about the day you figured out, hey, wow, I'm part of this club that I didn't want to be in.
Right. Well, let me start off by saying, ladies, breast cancer in itself is a silent killer.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to pay attention to our bodies. And that's something that I didn't do the way I should have.
Right.
My journey started by me finding a lump in my breast. However, I thought it was just, you know, you get banged up, you get a bruise.
Right.
That's what I thought it was.
Wow.
And we went away on a cruise.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never forget, came back and the bruise was still there. And I was like, I'll give it a couple of days, see what happens.
Now, was it a
whatever.
bruise like black and blue bruise? Like
Yeah,
you
like
felt?
a little
Okay, I got a bruise on my
lightly
arm right now.
shaded.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you find
Lightly
it?
shaded.
Did you find it incidentally, or did you,
In the shower, I was taking a
You just-
shower,
so you- okay.
and I felt it, and
Okay.
I'm like, "What's that?"
Right.
I said, "Okay, maybe I banged myself up somewhere,
Wow.
whatever, hit something." And I didn't pay attention to it the way I should. Went away. I kept putting it on the back burner. Because cancer was nowhere on my mind.
Not even in your psyche. Like, you had no idea, or
not at all.
It's nothing to think of.
I was in my 30s.
Okay.
So I'm not thinking about cancer.
Interesting.
I don't smoke. You know, that's a myth that we all think.
Right.
Oh,
Right. It's all related to something you smoke.
Not at all.
Okay.
So I went away, came back. It was still there. We happened to be having a conversation on my job, me and another young lady, and she told me about a lump that she had in her back that she's had for years. And I said, you know, it's funny you said that, because I have a lump on my breast that I thought it was just a bruise or something, and it's still here.
Wow.
And it's like, I would say 2 months, maybe even 3 months later.
Okay.
So my supervisor at the time, Ellen, said to me, "You what?" She was like, "Come with me in my office right now." And to this day, I thank God for her, because that woman saved my life.
True indeed. Thanks to Ellen.
Ellen, yes.
Yeah. Kudos to Ellen.
And I went into her office and she said, "Pull up your doctor's number and you call your doctor right now." And I was like, "Nah, Ellen, I don't think it's that serious. It's not a painful thing or anything like that." It's
well, I mean, we're a stubborn people, right? So we think we know more than what some doctor could tell us, or what any institution could say. So
I'm like, "It's just a little bruise. I'm not." She was like, "Did you hear what I said? Call that doctor right now."
Right.
And she made me call my doctor and made an appointment.
Good for Ellen.
And when I went to the appointment, quite logically, they took a
biopsy. Biopsy.
And it took about, I think 2 or 3 days. They had me come back into the office. And I sat there. It was me and my mother-in-law, Tim's mom, Charlene Brisco. And they called us in the office, and he said, "Ms. Brisco, I'm sorry to say, but you have breast cancer."
Wow.
I'm like, "What?" You know, I'm looking at this guy like, "No, check your charts."
Right. Go back.
There's no way.
You got the wrong name.
I have cancer.
Wow.
So he was like, "Yes."
So that must have been, I mean, because there's a freeze moment there that happens where you kind of like not sure, you're stuck in shock, but then you go into, I guess, hey, okay, now what's the next step?
Yeah, I was in shock, and I don't even remember the doctor's name because he turned me off so bad.
Wow.
As a female, he made me feel, he was like, "You have breast cancer. These are your choices. Either you can take the breast off, or you can take chemo, keep the breast." He was just very
matter of fact about it.
cut point about it.
He sounded like a used car salesman.
Right. For the first time me hearing this, how do you talk to me like that? You know? And it was a hip doctor. I was with hip at the time.
But was it real? It was. I mean, it was really that cut and dry. There was no
sympathy. There was no, and that made it 10 times worse.
I can imagine.
And I'll never forget leaving there, and my first phone call was to my husband, Tim Brisco, and he was just like 100% supportive. When I told him the news, you know, he had the same response, like, "You got what?"
Right.
And they said it's cancer.
Eesh.
And it wasn't just cancer, I was at stage 3.
Oh, man.
So you were a little further along.
I was way down the line.
Wow.
Yes.
So that's, I actually was, I think I was with your husband either that night or one of the nights close to it. And the blank stare was exactly the same, but obviously committed to, making family, figure out, everybody regroups and just goes back and says, "Hey, how do we deal with this?" So, wow. So you were at stage 3.
Stage 3.
At the day of conception. Now, what do most people find out? I mean, do most people have you heard anything that people find out earlier?
See, it all depends on mammograms, which is so important.
Right.
And with October being Breast Cancer Month, I'm saying to my ladies, please, whatever you do, whether you feel something or not, as I told you before, it's a silent killer. you don't feel it.
Right.
I felt no sickness, nothing. I went on with my everyday life.
Right.
You know me, Chad. I'm at every game.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm doing everything. I didn't feel no type of way. So
but
me getting this news, I'm like, cancer.
Wow. It doesn't even fit the
What?
bill. You don't smoke.
Right.
You don't partake
that
in
stuff.
any of the crazy
You know,
things
so
that give you that.
it was a real shocker. So mammograms are so important. Then you also have sonograms where they can go deeper, you know, and really see, because sometimes the mammogram won't pick it up.
Right.
And when they do a sonogram, they can see dysfunctional cells.
Oh, really? Okay.
And that makes them look into you further.
Looking at it further.
You know, but scanning is the number one, like, top thing with cancer.
So
you have to get checked.
In a day of age where medical technology and everything else, I happen to believe in, you know, that I think that the doctors and most of the medical professions are outdated. Like they read
Right.
the books that are printed 10 years ago, 20 years ago.
Right.
They go by a standard of what they've been taught.
Right.
And so you hear commonly, even with men, well, you don't have to worry about these things till you're 50,
Right.
unless you do cocaine.
Right, right.
You have no problem with your heart unless you do cocaine. You have nothing to worry about with your heart. And so it employs, you know, people like yourself to tell younger women,
Yes.
especially from, you know, from our walk of life, that, hey, don't listen to these guys. Go get checked.
You
Go
have to.
test. Go figure something out.
It's
And
that
so,
you know, they tell you to wait until you're 40. Any woman 40 and over, I disagree with that.
Right.
Because I was not 40.
Right.
I was 37.
it was 37.
Yes.
So, now, if someone 25 walks in and says, "Hey, I'd like to get tested," can they do that?
They can.
Okay, you
They
can.
can. You
and
can't
so, what
turn
do you?
them away.
Okay, you can't turn them away. So,
No.
you can go to a doctor now and say,
And just say, I want to take a memo.
So you wanna take a
can
memo.
Anyone can go take a memo.
Well-
And especially if cancer is in your family, a history of cancer, it's very important.
Did you have
There's
cancer in your family?
also- I did, but I didn't know. One of my aunts had it
Mm.
on my father's side. And
Breast
she
cancer
kept
as
it
well?
a secret.
Breast cancer?
Breast cancer. She kept it a secret. And
Why would you keep it a secret?
Because some people don't like, they're like ashamed.
Oh,
You'll be
okay.
surprised. But
Yeah.
some women are embarrassed by it or feel like, you know, people are going to look down on them, I guess. I don't know. I'm totally different. Anyone that I can help and save, I
Right.
tell them my story.
Sure.
Because, like I said, it's a silent killer.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and if you're not on it and on top of it, it'll take you out of here.
So what was the next step for you? So you have this discussion with your husband.
Right.
This is what it is. You
So-
realize that your husband is a 100% supportive.
100%.
And so what is the next step for you after that?
He, you know, told me, babe, listen, I don't want you to make any drastic decisions about taking your breast off. Whichever way you go, I'm with you 100%.
So wait, how many? What was it? It was 3 options.
It was, I can take my breast off,
Yep.
which is,
Now this was, you found it in one
yes.
side,
Yes,
left,
it was
right,
on my right side.
right side. Okay, so you had the
And-
option to remove one.
Yes.
Okay,
Or you can take off both.
or you can take both
Yes.
and just say,
But another myth that women are often misled with is if you take the breast off, you have a better chance. Cancer can come back
Yeah.
with your breast off.
mm,
It's not in your breast per se. It's
Right.
in your
It's in your
genes.
body.
It's in your body.
in your
It's
blood,
cells
it's in your,
that
wow.
move around.
Right.
And it doesn't have to come back in your breast. It can come back somewhere else.
Right, right.
So once you're infected with cancer, like, you have to constantly get checked. So a lot of people, you know, doctors say, oh, well, have a mastectomy, take it off. But then you do that and cancer comes back.
Right.
You know, so you go through that hardship of having to look at your body deformed in a new form and dealing with that psychological
And there's
part
all
of it.
types of
when you don't have
psychological
to.
shaping
So-
and
Right.
shaming of, you know, just who you are,
Exactly. So I
staring in
don't
the
want
mirror
women
looking.
out there to feel like if
Right.
this happens to you, you have to take your breast off.
Right.
I
Okay.
did not
Good
take
advice.
my
That's
breast
good
off,
advice.
and I'm still here.
Good. So in the battle, you said that the next step, you somehow went through a series of treatments there after you
Yes.
figured it out. You got some good advice. Did you get a second opinion?
Here's what I did. Yes, I did
Okay.
get a second opinion. My best friend, Rima Murkison,
Mm-hmm.
I called her next after my husband, and she immediately came over to my house.
Mm-hmm.
And she had just gotten a procedure done, and she had a great breast doctor.
Mm.
And she said, you know what? We're not going to listen to that doctor.
Right.
You're not comfortable with him.
Right.
Let's go get a second
Right.
opinion.
Right. You're right.
And
Whatever
I'll
you
never
said
forget,
didn't work.
we were in Pathmark at the time on Springfield. I was
Okay.
picking up some stuff, me and her. And she called her doctor right then and there. And her doctor told her, put me on the phone. Karen Kossif is her name. I love her dearly.
Shout out.
She was so great. Like, from the conversation, I felt 1,000% better.
Wow.
Just from
Her words.
Just
from
conversing
speaking to her.
on phone.
Just from hearing her voice
She said,
telling you
yes.
probably you're not alone.
And that's what she said to me. She said, listen, yes, you have cancer.
Mm-hmm.
People automatically think they're going to die.
Right.
I'm telling you, you're not going to die.
Right.
I'm telling you, we can fix this.
So you don't have to die from this.
No, there's
Right.
over like
Absolutely not.
like 3 billion. There's like 3 billion women who are actual breast cancer survivors.
Absolutely not. And
Right.
she just,
3.3 million cancer survivors are alive in the United States today.
Did I say billion?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
You said billion,
Oh,
yeah.
I gave it too much credit.
Okay, but
But
well,
still,
we have-
there's over 3 million
Millions.
Yeah.
women
It's
who
a
are
lot.
who are
It's
breast
a
cancer
lot.
survivors.
This is
So
United
it's
States
not
we're talking.
it's not a death sentence. So
Right.
So it's not that you don't have to die from this. So continue,
And
please.
so she gave me every phone number that she had, her cell, her office, everything. And she said, listen, if you need me at 3 o'clock in the morning just to cry, just to you feel uncomfortable or anything, she said, pick up that phone and call me. I'm here for
It's
you.
amazing.
And I just looked up and thanked God, because it was nobody but him that directed my best friend
Sure.
to direct me to her. And she was the best. Like, I started seeing her immediately. She set up my appointments. I switched from HIP over to her. She's at the Breast Cancer Center over in Flushing on Main Street.
okay.
And I started going to her, and when I walked in that woman's office the first day, she grabbed me, hugged me, and kissed me like I knew her for like 20
Wow.
years. And that's important. It's important, especially when you get news of such that blows you away.
Right.
Support is everything.
Of course.
Support is
Of
key.
course.
And
Wait.
it started with my doctor. And that just gave me the drive to say, you know what? I feel like I'm in good hands.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not letting this thing beat me.
So, but you mentioned something very interesting. You were, and obviously we cross a couple of platforms where we kind of cross. You mentioned switching healthcare,
Yes.
and
It's so
I'm assuming that this was so important in the fight to have the proper healthcare to be able to go through this. Knowing what you know now, you're 100% pre-warned. But at that moment, how did you know what plan to switch to, or at what point? And let's go fast forward to today. Is that even possible?
Well, here's where I looked up
Okay.
at. I'm on my husband's insurance, and of course, you guys know he works for Transit.
Yep.
So, Transit, city workers, they have the best insurance.
Take care of their people.
Take care of the people.
Again, that's where I was blessed.
Sure.
Because I have a very best friend of mine, Gail Hayes,
Uh huh.
that I lost to cancer. We were going through it together, and her insurance situation was not the same.
See, that's,
And I honestly feel today.
that's such a
that's
I
a
honestly feel-
tragedy, right? That's
yeah,
a tragedy.
It's a tragedy that you
in-
lose
in the
people
best
simply
country in the
because
world.
they don't
is.
have coverage
Yeah.
for something,
It
and
is.
Absolutely.
that's horrible.
It's the worst, but it happens to
Yeah.
so many people.
Yeah.
I had my oncologist, one of my first oncologists, Tutu was her name. She left New York City because she didn't like the way the insurance companies were dealing with the cancer patients. And she said, I just can't take it no more. And she moved her practice out of New York State. And, you know, it's a lot of behind the scene things
Right.
that's going on, and people suffer from it. You know?
I mean, you're right. I mean, we've heard, you know, a lot of people sit on a different side of politics and talk about healthcare, but they never hear it from the
Yeah,
people who
it's-
are on the receiving end of it.
Right.
You
It's
know,
a
I
difference.
think our elected officials, who, by the way,
Get great health coverage.
they don't get the health coverage that they're proposing.
Right, exactly.
Right.
They have
Right. Top-notch.
they
Right.
have a top-notch program that is part of the federal government. So I think it's kind of like the used car salesman selling a car that doesn't work. Well,
Right.
you don't drive. You drive a Mercedes.
Exactly.
Like you drive
Exactly.
something completely different. So now that you switched to healthcare, you've transformed. You were able to get the right because someone gave you some good advice,
Right.
and this all comes from being able to communicate to people and having dialogue and saying, "Hey, I'm going through this.
Right.
What should I do? Should I, Now, if you were an introvert
Right.
and
Kept
you
to
were
yourself,
not
yeah.
able and talk to your mirror, how?
God
Couldn't
knows
happen.
if I would still be here.
Couldn't
today.
happen. Couldn't happen if you don't
Absolutely.
explain to somebody and go
Absolutely.
to the next level.
That's why it's so important for us to help each other.
Indeed.
And educate each other.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't know, you
Yeah.
just don't know. And I was able to change my insurance over. She took my insurance coverage,
God bless.
United Healthcare,
God bless.
and we set up the surgery. I had the surgery. The tumor, I had to take chemo first because the tumor had grown so big.
Oh,
So in my case, I took tumor first. I took the chemo first.
Okay.
To shrink the tumor down.
Wow.
In the beginning, it wouldn't shrink. So they
Oh,
had
my
to
goodness.
switch my chemo. And yeah, it's a battle. Because everybody's body reacts differently, and that's another myth. People say, "Well, I get sick from chemo." I didn't get sick from chemo.
Oh, you didn't?
It all
You didn't get
depends
sick.
on your body. I didn't get
Really?
sick. I felt it. You don't feel it the day you take it.
Right,
you
where it
feel
changes,
it 3
though.
days later.
Okay.
And it just made me like a little groggy.
Yeah.
So it's very individualized because
It's very individualized,
because when I
because there's
hear
other people-
chemo, I hear people, you're losing a ton of weight, you're going to lose all your hair, you're going to be throwing up.
Well,
20
I
times
have a
day.
joke about that.
Okay.
That was the one thing that I was kind of glad about
Yeah.
with the cancer. I said, "Oh, well, I'm gonna finally get some weight off of me. I'm gonna lose weight." Never happened.
No.
I'm like,
God
why
damn
do
it.
I have to be the only damn plus size?
God damn it. Cancer ain't shit.
I was really like, all right. Well, one good thing that's gonna come out of this damn deal is I'm gonna lose some weight.
Cancer
Didn't
is
happen.
not a weight
so,
loss.
Well, that's,
everyone.
but that's good to
is
know, though. It's
affected
good to know that
differently.
the
Absolutely.
individual is going to respond differently to types of
Yes.
treatment. And
Treatment.
Yes.
But you had to go through that to find that out, though.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Right.
But do they warn you of that? Do they know? Do they know you may react a different way? And what is it? Is it your
There's a basic
I see.
warning, of course, because they're going to cover.
They gotta protect themselves.
Right.
They're going to cover themselves, and they're going to tell you this can happen, that can happen, this can happen. You can have a reaction.
yeah
So until you go through it, you don't know.
Right.
Until you actually start taking the meds.
Right.
To see whether they're working for you or not.
Wow.
The first set of meds that they were giving me weren't working for
Weren't
me,
working.
so they had to switch it. Once she switched it, it came down
Mm-hmm.
right away. And once it shrank, then I had the surgery. And after the surgery, I had to take radiation. Now, the radiation is to burn around the area so that they can really make sure the cells that were there are burnt out.
wow.
So it's a process.
It's a process.
It's a process.
So let's fast forward to you've had these you dealt with it like a champ. I mean, obviously you're here today,
Right.
and you've gone through how many times? Now we've heard remission happens. Did you go to a point where you had it and got re-diagnosed
yes.
again?
Remission.
Yes.
So what was that like? Was that like redoing it all
It
over
was
again?
7 years.
7
Came
years.
back
years.
7 years
7
later
years. Wow.
in my left breast.
Mm-hmm.
And because I was constantly going to get my checkups and everything, it was detected I was at stage 1. The second time that
Second
it
time
came
around,
back.
you stage
Yes.
1. Okay.
And in the left breast.
So it just gradually moved over
So
and
again,
said,
right. Had I taken the right breast off, it came back. It didn't come
Yeah.
back in my right breast.
right.
It came back in my left breast. So again, it's a teaching thing.
Yeah.
I was at stage 1 though, which was great because they caught it right away from me going from my regular scans. And I kind of knew, like I was laying on the table and they just kept going over that one spot.
Wow.
And I'm like, this is taking too long.
Yeah.
Why is this taking so long?
Well, obviously
And-
they found
right,
something and they just
right.
want to double check and
Then,
triple
you
check.
know, they go calling 3 or 4 more doctors. So
Yeah, then you know.
once that happened, then you know something's up.
Right.
So, I still kind of was like, no, this is not happening again.
Right.
How long ago was that?
But this was 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
Yes.
So again, and I'm sorry to fast forward, but there's no slight of anguish that you've gone through, but now you go now, okay? You're cancer free.
Cancer free.
Cancer free.
Yes. Thank God.
And so this is a huge testimony to getting in front of it and actually heading it off, saying, "Hey, I think I'm going to take the right steps," and having good advice and having good consultation and good health care.
So important.
So when people argue about health care, they have no fucking idea what they're talking about.
Idea.
Yeah.
Because this story could not have gone a different way. It could have gone a different way had there not have been the availability and the access, the resources to quality health care.
Yes.
So kudos to the MTA for even having that great program and allowing people to live, because as she said, you do not have to die from this, and that's the most important thing. You don't have to die from this. And men are climbing very fast in the prostate.
Men get breast cancer. Well, men get breast cancer as well.
Men get breast cancer too?
Yes.
Men get breast cancer as well.
Men
know this.
can get breast cancer.
Yes.
I didn't know this.
Absolutely, they can. And, it's not just a female disease.
It's not a female disease.
It has to do with like the fat you have in the area. Women tend to have more, so women are more prone to it.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know. I didn't know why it somehow breast cancer.
I mean, that's not the
became
reason why you get breast cancer.
No,
but
but it's a
what
thing
it attaches
because
to.
because of the physical composition of your body.
Right.
So,
but men do. But men do get breast cancer.
Wow, that's insane.
How often do you examine? Get yourself examined now?
I self-examine myself once a week.
Okay.
And I go to my doctor every 3 months.
Okay.
So is there some
I
sort of a
still
regimen?
have-
There's something you have, like, obviously feeling, for lumps and stuff like that.
Yeah, you have to feel under your arms,
Right.
because that's where my lump was.
Right.
People think that it's on the breast.
Right.
It's underneath your arms. And it can come in different places,
Sure.
but it usually is under your arm.
Oh,
So
that's
if you're
the trigger
feeling
sign.
under your arm and you feel a lump, go get it checked out.
Good advice.
So, and you have to go all around the surroundings
Yeah.
to make sure you don't feel anything different.
Wow.
And if you do not wait, because early detection is the best prevention.
Well, we do a great job in kind of like, saying, "Oh, that's nothing," or
And that's
it's just,
us. That's us as a people.
I played basketball
We
the
do.
other day, and
Because
and
that was my
it's-
story.
Yeah.
And I was slowly killing myself.
Wow.
Because I got to stage 3. And I knew about it for a while, but I just kept putting it off, thinking it's not bothering me. It's just something that's there that I knew wasn't there. But I'm thinking it was like, after a while, I started thinking maybe it's a cyst.
Now when you look back, and first of all, congratulations for
Thank you.
for your journey, and it definitely is a testament to not only healthcare and you having, but your will as well.
Yeah.
Because you just as easily could have said, "Well, fuck this."
Right.
But now going back, between the time that you first found out and then you're waiting a couple of months, how much of that was just it just not being a consideration, or maybe you didn't want to hear bad news? Because I think a lot of people don't get checked out simply because the possibility of hearing something negative is something that they're not really prepared
they're really
for.
afraid. I think
so
people are
rather
afraid
than
of the
you
news.
don't want to hear bad stuff,
Yeah.
and so I'll just avoid that all the way. Men are more typical of that than females, but still, just the notion that this is a possibility says, well, if I avoid that, then I won't have to hear bad news.
To be honest, cancer was nowhere on my mind. I wasn't even thinking about cancer. And I just really thought it was, like I said, nothing major,
Right.
But then after like 2 months went by, and I'm like, this lump is still here.
Right.
I started thinking a cyst.
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe it's just a cyst.
Right.
I mean,
Right. And you said you didn't
And
know about your
still-
aunt who that.
No,
that
I didn't
had,
know
right.
anything about my aunt.
And then how did that happen? You found out later
My
after
aunt
she found out.
died when she died, maybe like 5 years ago.
So you were well into your journey,
Yeah, I was already into it.
and obviously consulting through family,
Right. Well,
somebody
when she
passed.
died, that's when we found out she died from breast cancer.
Now, did she at the time know you were going through it at the time?
She did, but she lived in the islands, so we didn't really have that closeness.
Yeah.
And again, as a family member, I don't know if she knew. It was definitely kept a secret from the family. So again, people deal with it in different ways.
Yeah, in different ways. Absolutely.
I don't feel there's a reason to keep a secret, but
Right.
you have to respect others' feelings.
Right.
She did. And we didn't find out until she died.
Wow.
What she died from. You know, so that was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And so now when I fill out my paperwork and they ask you, do you have cancer in your family? I have to say yes.
You have to say yes.
So there's also genetic testing that everyone needs to take once you're diagnosed with cancer, which can trickle down to tell you whether your kids, what are their chances of having it.
Really?
Yes.
And is this a rating? This is a...
Yeah, it's like
1
a
in
rating.
5. It's a...
Yeah, it's a very detailed test, though.
Wow.
And again, insurance plays a big part.
Right.
Do you have children?
Yes, I have 2 children and 1 by marriage.
Mm-hmm.
My oldest daughter, Tanisha. I have a son, Timothy Brisco, that's 25,
Mm-hmm.
and Alethea Brisco, that's 19, who played such an intricate part
Sure did.
in my healing, in my going through. Support is everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
And my kids, like, my son was in 9th grade at Christ the King at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll never forget, he used to give me my needles because I had to take needles once a week. And he was like, Mom, we're going to make this. We're going to do this together. I got your back.
Nice.
And he gave me my needles. He was just there. Talia was a little younger, so she didn't really understand what was going on. She just knew Mommy was sick.
Right.
But Timothy was like my backbone. He was and just watching him fight with me just made it so much easier.
Yeah, you knew you weren't alone.
Yeah.
Shout out
I
to
knew
Blessed Living.
Yes. He really, really, as a kid, and then, you know, shout out to PD Nation.
Yeah.
Like, my support team was tremendous. Coach Joe and everyone there at PD, like, there was never a dull moment. I came out the hospital, the PD parents was bringing me food, dinner, sending me flowers. Like, just knowing the players on the boys and girls side, beautiful cards, just being there, you know, making sure
they all wore the
okay.
shirts. They wore
my church family.
They did the fight cancer.
New Canaan Baptist Church.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
They gave me a huge surprise afterwards, and you know, had all the kids. I used to direct the choir at church, and they were just tremendously supportive. Joanne again did a great, huge dinner. When I walked in that room, people that I hadn't seen in years.
Sure.
And I could never forget those things, you know. And it's the little things that you may do for someone that keeps you ticking. You would be surprised.
Yeah.
It can be something a kid says,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that make you want to fight.
And that's that's I think what all this means is about sharing a moment that seems somewhat personal, that you would normally, and I think most of us who are affected with this treat it very personal.
Yeah.
And the fact that you were able to publicize it changed the outcome.
Yes.
In a positive way.
Well, change the
I
outcome.
couldn't believe it. People used to look at me and say, "You got cancer."
Right.
I'm like, "Yeah, I just came from chemo." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, and she's at a game
And
screaming
you're
at coaches.
the kid? I'm
She's
like,
the
yes.
biggest. Listen,
Yes.
I got tapes of games, right, where she's in the audience screaming at the refs at the game. I mean, she's...
Well, you don't seem like somebody that takes a back seat. You got the fly Adidas on that making me jealous because I was supposed to get. I know I was supposed to get my white stripes, and I just oh man. But no, your struggle is a legacy struggle because the people that have supported you and the people who's a part of your community, they now know the potential of what it is. And so, who knows, somebody down the line, they might, get in the shower and say, ooh, I remember what happened before. Let me go get this checked out. Your kids now know. And so as they get older, they know, hey, this is part of my family. So, maybe I won't wait to get that mammogram.
Right.
Maybe I won't wait to go and those things like that.
That's
And
that's
it's
huge.
you've moved the needle in changing the life of the health of the people that you've touched. And I hope you I hope you realize that.
I do, and I make it my business, like I said, to help. Even when I walk down the street and I see people smoking cigarettes, I'm like, you guys have no idea what it's like drinking Clorox.
Oh.
To put it out there for people that don't know. You actually feel it going through your veins
that's not
when
fun.
you're taking it.
It can't be fun. It can't be fun at all.
It's not.
Now, did you come to any conclusion as to like the potential cause of your breast cancer? Because a lot of times there's both hereditary and also environmental reasons as to why you get it.
I would definitely say, I mean, me personally, I used to like a lot of steak. I would eat steak a lot, and they say
red meat, right?
Is you got to stay away from it.
Potentially,
with cancer. I really think it's our environment, all the injections that's going on, and everything that we eat. I don't care what it is. Now, they're from
there's
hot
hormones,
dogs
there's hormones
to
and everything.
right.
So
It's in everything. So
process.
It has to be
Absolutely. It's in the food.
process of
Contribute,
the food.
right?
It has to be.
Has to be.
Years ago, you would hear like 1 in 100 people that has
That's
cancer.
what we talked about before.
Cancer today is like a common cold.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah.
It's like a common cold. Every other person you talk to
have
cancer.
A lot of researchers are very, very concerned as to what's happening with the use of things like antibiotics, because what they're saying is that what normally our body would sort of take care of,
Right.
because we've sort of like misused things like antibiotics and stuff like that, right?
Ampicillin, penicillin.
We've sort of, I mean, it's helped, but at the same time, it's sort of like got in the way of our body taking care of things. And that's not to say that your body would have taken care of it, but yeah, what would have been maybe 1 out of 15 women is now 1 out of 8 women.
Right.
Yeah, you're right, because by just even taking penicillin or any antibiotics for whatever reason you think you can clear it up, you're actually hurting yourself by not creating the same natural antibiotics to fight off. And a little bit of germ is always good. Your body is meant to, and human beings are very resilient. We are able to recover from so much, but when you introduce processed foods, genetically modified stuff, Franken foods, McDonald's, and all the other brands. Well, I shouldn't say that because they'll take away some money from us. But anyway,
were they giving us money to begin with?
Yeah. We got a warning for.
Okay. Oh, did we really?
We got a warning.
Oh, you should publicize that.
I know,
because that means somebody's paying attention.
Well, they got a warning. We got a warning because we said stuff that was offensive to some of the sponsors. So whatever.
Okay. What sponsors are those?
I don't know. They don't tell you.
They don't tell you what sponsors?
I could go for a tribunal and get a further. I don't want it. I don't care.
Right.
We don't care. We're doing a little bit more than just trying to get likes and views.
That's funny.
We're really trying to open the platform, and this platform I think is by far the most heartfelt platform for for the podcast. We're up at episode 6. And I think people need to pay attention. You guys really need to understand that this is not something you have to die from.
No, absolutely
Your
not.
family does not have to mourn from this. It is something that is preventative. Men as well. This is not a female disease, as she just discussed.
Right.
And that the more we as a people are educated and just learning, we're a lot better than yesterday.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've learned just from these few facts alone, which was not in my psyche, and never, you don't think about it like that until you're affected from it.
Right.
And I think everybody deals with it on a different level. But again, congratulations to your fight, your journey.
Thank you so
and,
much.
And I see you brought some props. You have some stuff.
Yeah, these are my. I'm a 2-time champ, 2-0, baby.
2-0.
So I keep my boxing gloves on.
Yeah.
So
because
if you ever think about coming back my way, you're going down again.
The fight is real. The fight is so real. The fight is so real.
I'm not the one.
Yeah.
They didn't learn the first time. They came back the second. Okay, well, I hope you learned the second time.
And
it's not happening.
Not a good look for cancer.
It's not. It's not. Just leave me alone.
And you know what?
Keep it moving.
Just having that positive attitude also is another thing. That just is such a. I mean, we're learning so much into just how you handle something.
Right.
Yes.
So many times it sort of like takes you over a hump that that only medicine can only do so much.
Right.
Treatment can only do so much. You eventually you got a life to live.
Right.
And so the question isn't, well, okay, how are you going to live your life? The
Right.
question is, how are you going to live your life? How are you going to move forward with this? And you can't do that with a negative attitude.
Everyone that I come across, even now when I go into the treatment room, because I have a port, which is something that you have installed in you, and
When you do
for
chemo, right?
For the chemo,
Okay.
right. So when I have small veins, so they give you an option. You can have a port installed, and they just hook you right up to the machine. So I go weekly and get it flushed. So when I go in there and I see all the patients taking cancer, and I try to talk to and encourage them, like, listen, I was sitting in that seat.
Right.
There's life after this.
Right.
Your attitude on how you deal with it is so important. Like, you have to. Some people, they hear they're sick, so they want to stay in the bed. They want to lay around.
Yeah.
No, that's not good. Do your daily routine.
Live your life.
Live your life. Unless you physically can't get out the bed, you can't let this thing take over you mentally. Once cancer takes over you mentally, you're gone.
Yeah.
You're gone.
It's. I mean, that happens. Watch yourself.
Sorry.
Right.
Yeah, that happens in so many aspects of life. Like your attitude about it
Yeah.
changes
it's
everything
so
else.
important.
I remember
Attitude is
I remember one
everything.
time in a snowstorm, I was complaining that I had to walk up this hill going in a snowstorm, and I see somebody in a wheelchair trying to get up this hill in a snowstorm, and I said,
And
well,
we're
then how am I going to
complaining.
bitch about
Right.
going up a snowstorm with this? And somebody always does have it. I mean, I hate to say that, but somebody always
Has it worse.
has
Have it
more
worse.
obstacles to get through,
Absolutely.
and you have to sort of like measure your gains and say, okay, well, look, I'm not at this point. I have a leaping point that I can
Right.
launch up and still have a great life. And you're an example of that. You got, like I said, you got the fresh Adidas on. So, if you had a bad attitude, you'd have some old, dung out Pumas or something or whatever.
Right. You
Yeah,
gotta keep
yeah.
You gotta keep it pushing, man. You gotta believe that there's steps to this, and
Yeah.
you gotta, take one step at a time. But you can overcome it. You can
Well,
beat it.
Well, we really appreciate you sharing because, if you didn't share it then, you probably wouldn't be here to share it now.
Right.
So
Right.
God bless you for your fight, your struggle. I love that people have signed these gloves.
Yes.
And that you are receiving tons of support.
So
And
important.
it couldn't be. Man, these flies are bugging out. But you can't do it without support.
Yeah.
And that's the
Yeah.
key
You can't.
to any of this for any people watching or
can't.
anyone even thinking of it. If you're dealing with any of these issues, we've seen we saw suicide numbers go up from
Yes.
this. We see
Yes.
people sitting there lamenting over it and just downpouring themselves with sorrow, grief,
Yeah.
Yes.
and then turning their lives miserable. And
Support
it's
is
so
everything.
it's so not necessary if you just had a friend,
Right.
if you just had someone, a real
Yes.
friend, not a digital friend either.
No.
a real
no,
friend.
A real friend.
A real
Like,
friend.
Literally, my best friend went with me, her and my mother-in-law,
Yeah.
Charlene, to every chemo appointment.
It's so important. I mean, I don't think
Everyone.
Nice.
anyone could comment
Yeah, like, it was
anything
her
other
schedule.
than that.
And you
It was
confronted
my
it.
schedule,
Right.
and it was her schedule also.
And you confronted it. You didn't hide from it. You
No,
didn't keep it in the
absolutely
shadow.
not.
You faced. You found your dragon and you faced your
Absolutely.
dragon,
Right.
and now you beat your dragon
You
down.
have to.
Well,
Well, it's not going to go away.
No,
So
it doesn't go away.
You have to deal with,
Well,
but-
Lee, I mean, we could go on and talk
Right.
about this. I mean, we got off to a little late start to a little abbreviation. John's got to get out of here.
Okay.
We do have to cut this one short. This was
No,
more than
this is
short and
Absolutely
sweet.
fantastic.
This was a
I
fantastic.
just want to touch one person.
I-
As long as this touches one person, we did what we can.
So if we get one like, so be the one.
I just
but
want to
that's
touch
the-
one,
Everybody
save
be the one.
life.
But that's the most important part. And if any of you ever hear this, and you say, I think, or you have some sort of a doubt, some 1%, one shadow of a doubt, you need to find a support group. And I'm gonna go on the record here to say that anybody that wants to inbox us or directly comment
Yeah.
to 2brosPodcast, we're more than happy to relay the information.
And they can
Absolutely.
hit me up.
To,
Alethea Brisco on Facebook.
There it is.
Please.
There it is.
You can inbox me. Once you inbox me, I'll share my phone number with you, and we can we can have that connection because
that's what this is. This is a dialogue. This is a community dialogue, and it doesn't exist without the being fueled by human people.
Right.
So without further ado, again, please just give a little. What'd you say? Alethea Brisco on Facebook.
Alethea Brisco on Facebook, Hoop Fam on Instagram.
Okay.
Those are my two, and just reach out to me, and I will definitely do and direct you in any direction that I can to help you out and make this an easier fight for you. Shout out to all the cancer survivors.
Yes.
Prayers out to all the families that have lost loved ones because
Yep.
it's hard. I lost my cousin Jasmine. I lost Big G, who meant so much to me, and Hazel. I can go on and on and on.
Sure.
Cancer is just a nasty disease, but you can beat it.
You can beat
fight
it, guys.
I did it twice.
She did it twice.
Don't give up.
She's 2-0.
Don't give up.
Listen, we're so honored to have the two-time champ. I don't think we'll have a better guest than this in the near future. But Alethea, thank you so much.
Thank you guys
Thank
for
you.
This has been
seeing that this is such an important subject. and
Oh,
bringing
it
to
is
the forefront.
for the awareness part of it. I mean, we're not the bandwagon crew. We didn't want to jump on and just be, hey, we'll wear pink in honor
Right.
of, etc.
Right.
We thought by having you on here, you know more than we do, and I'm now a little bit more educated. How about you, John?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think our fans and everyone out there can take something home from this. This is something that is serious in our community,
Yes.
and this is something that needs to be addressed. But you
Very.
do not have to do it alone. That's the most
Nope,
important part.
you're not alone.
You don't have to do it alone. We want to thank you for watching 2Bros Podcast. We thank our guest Alethea Brisco,
Thank you for having
my brother
me.
John,
Out.
Yankees.
No, we're
Come
taking
on,
care
are
of
the
it. We're
Yankees
taking
gonna
care of
win
it.
tonight?
We're taking care of it tonight.
Come on.
Everybody relax.
Come
We're
on,
taking
New
care of
York
it
teams.
tonight. We're taking care of
New
it.
York team's got to get
Taking
it
care of
together.
it.
Hey, last
that last
prediction.
game broke my heart.
Ah,
It
you
broke
and
my
everybody
heart.
else.
Oh my God.
everybody else.
I stood up for like the last 4 innings of that game.
My brother
I did.
is the
It hurt.
Yankee
It
fan.
hurt. I was like, I felt like I got cheated on
Yeah.
or something. It was just, it felt like, oh
Violent.
man.
It's violent.
How can I had to take a shower. I had to take, But no, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So we're not done yet.
We're not
Come
done
on,
yet.
Yankees,
We're
let's
not done
go,
yet.
Yankees.
Okay. It is October 8th. You're watching 2Bros Podcast on 13 Ghost TV. Thank our guests. Thank my host, partner in crime, and we'll see you next episode.
See you. Thank you.
Stay blessed.
Peace.
Stay up.
Blessed living.
Blessed
Peasy.
living.
Blessed living.
Easy
Shout out.
peasy.
They're next. We're going to get you guys on. All right.
Podcast, 13 Ghost TV.